In this episode, we're going to give you a little progress update about what's been happening and also tell you about some of the plans for the layout. So let's get inside. Murder Mystery Train for my birthday. Yay! Howdy train fans, welcome back to the Chattanooga Southern Railroad. So as I mentioned, I'm going to kind of do a overall progress update for you guys about things that have happened around the layout. And as I go, I'm going to give you kind of an idea of what is coming for each of those areas. We'll call this a progress update video in all, but I'll just go by section, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here in the Sugar Alley and work my way back to the mess over there in North and the L&N section. So let's get going. All right, so I'm over here in the Sugar Alley section of the train layout. So the things that have been happening since you last saw this as an update is I finally got those switches wallered out, or the holes wallered out, and these switches flush mounted now, so those are done. If you watched a couple of my previous videos, I installed this turnout here on the runaround track and this spur here that will act as the tag Central Georgia interchange track. And just the way that works, so trains are going to come in through that portal over there from off layout. Typically one, maybe two cars, and of course the locomotive is usually going to be pushing those. I haven't decided whether I'm going to run a shoving platform on that or not. I'm still thinking about that, but basically these cars would be brought in through the runaround and then parked down here on this siding. And this worked out really, really well because it kept me from having to do any manipulation up in here or tie up the runaround track with interchange cars going in or out. I need this runaround to be able to do the switching maneuvers up into here. But it also doesn't tie up the yard, and as you can see, it's pretty full right now. The things that I have to do to finish the track work in this section is I've got to get these feeders resoldered here, and then as you can see here, I've got a pair here, and then back there where you see kind of like the white area, the bench work is designed to split there. So what I have to do is I'm going to have to cut that with a Dremel, and then I think I've got the no, I have the wires soldered back there, so that's all I got to do there. And then this, from a track work standpoint, will be 100% done and ready to go. All right, so over here in South Chattanooga, I've got my Halloween train hidden in the tunnel from you guys because that's going to be a separate reveal. The one thing, I haven't done hardly anything over here really, other than some mental planning, and mental planning around the fact that, hey, I've got a caboose that I kind of am thinking about turning into a barbecue place and put it kind of like there, but I don't know whether I'm going to put it there or over there. That's all going to depend on where this road access is. Is it going to come through here for here or here across here? I haven't decided that yet. There is going to be a train station that sits right here. This road is actually going to move one lane out, just so you understand that. So don't get tied up with the road striping that you see currently. Some of that's going to shift a little bit based off of new mental plans. I did find, as I was digging through stuff, that I had another NJ International set of crossing gates. These don't have the arms on them. And I was thinking, you know, this road here, although I haven't selected the final position of it, this road would be a good place to put that, because this road is going to come in from the fascia into here to access the freight depot, and then the junkyard, the scrapyard area back in here, and then also the rip track area here. But it's not going to go across these tracks. These are going to be dead as far as automobile crossing. I'm going to probably have some Jersey barriers or something there. But these crossing gates will work really well for these 3 tracks right in here. So, all right, so over here in North Junction, not much new. That water tower has been there. It's been kind of been moving around. I think I've got it in its final location there. I plan on doing some decor on it. This is one of those water towers. It was supposed to have a smiley face on it, but now I'm kind of thinking that I'm kind of happy that it doesn't. Not much over there. I'll show you some of that stuff here in a minute, and we'll keep going with the tour. No specific plans, updates. All the track work is done in this area across here. So over in here, or I should say back over in there, you can see I've got my red, yellow, and green push pins out. I've been playing with and toying with the signal arrangements as I've read more about what the Southern Railway did and their aspects. I've been moving some pins around, from going from dwarf signals to full head signals and back. So I'm still playing with that. I am getting closer to having that finalized, I think. I think the only thing I need to do now is I've decided I'm going to put a mast over there pointing through that hole back into Collier Yard, the hidden staging, so that the engineer that's back there can see whether or not they've got a clear signal coming out. So that's the only major upgrade. There's no track upgrade back in that section or over here in North. I think everything's looking pretty good. Got this bridge positioned where I think I want it, and that building is there for a reason. I'll share that with you in a minute, but no major changes across here as far as track work. It's all working as I expected, and I think I've got all my signals set up that way, the way I want, I should say. All right, so I'm over here on the L&N interchange section. So this is the section that everybody sees when they come down to the layout for the first time. And you can see I've been doing some work here. So I've been doing my spackling and sanding. What a messy job that is, working with that stuff and doing that sanding. So I'm trying to get this ready for paint. And while I was doing this, of course, I was figuring, okay, how many of these screw holes do I have to really do? And you can see I've pulled all the foam out of what makes up the tunnel in the mountain here. And the reason I did that is because I've got some work to do here. One of the things that I really wanted to do, because the advantage of technology of being able to have a onboard camera, I wanted to be able to decorate these tunnels so that they would be quote unquote visually prototypical. Okay. I don't know how many times I've watched a video where you're watching somebody's train run through a beautiful layout, and then all of a sudden they go into the pink granite tunnel, or they go into plaster tunnel, and you see the cardboard webbing or the screening or whatever else, and it just kind of loses something, then it pops back out again. And sometimes tunnels can be pretty long. These are pretty short here. And as you can see, there is a crossing, at grade crossing there, diamond, for the 2 different lines. So this track here is the L&N interchange that goes into North. This is the northbound southern main that comes out of North as well. And this was my clever way to fix that problem. But as you can see, I needed to get that foam out of there because I needed to cut the ditches that you would normally see in the tunnels going into those. I've also got some work to do as far as this piece of track. It's a little loose there. And then as I was working on this side, I said, you know what, I've got to do some work on the other side too, cutting some ditches. And you can see I started that, but let me take you over there and show you what's going on there. Right now, all this track work is done. And all I've got to do now is solder some feeders. So you saw some over there in Sugar Alley. So I'll whip out the soldering iron and tools and do all that stuff at once, because I really want to get to finishing up the wiring on this layout. So here we are over in the Heads Yard area. You can see I'm using the pink colored spackle. That stuff's really cool because, you know, it goes on pink, and then once it's fully dry, it goes fully white, and it gives you a visual to say, hey, look, it's ready to go. So I'm going to start spackling over here. But as I mentioned before in the L&N section, a mess has been made. So I'm going to show you the mess. It's all from that mountain right there. And when I say a mess, it's everywhere. If you've not used the foam stuff, when you start cutting it, especially when the weather starts getting cooler, it sticks to everything with static. I mean, you can see it everywhere. So the whole reason behind all this mess here is, as I mentioned before, working over there in the L&N section, which there's the L&N interchange that crosses over that diamond there, and this is the northbound main coming out and off here. Before, I had cut these mountains before, and you saw that in the previous video. What I failed to consider when I created this mountain was taking into consideration the thickness of the backdrop and the stanchions behind it. So as you can see, I had to cut quite a bit off, and I've been reshaping this to make it work, and making sure that I've got the footprints laid out and drawn. And part of the goal here is to make sure that I've got this the right height that I want it, which I think it's a little too low. I've got a little more room to go here. But let me show you some uniqueness things about this tunnel, okay? All right, sorry, I had to move some stuff on the floor to get you a little closer here, so I've got you in a tripod. So I wanted to show you a little bit more about this mountain. So I'm gonna take these upper pieces off here, like this. I'm just gonna set these aside. And so this is what it looks like in its raw form. So you can see this is the L&N interchange, goes over the diamond and heads that way. This is the northbound southern main heading north towards say the Citico yards in Chattanooga. And so what I wanted to do is, as I mentioned over there, is I want to get my ditches cut, and you can see I've got those cut here all the way through, and I've got my lines. And then as I was cutting these, I realized that these foam pieces were like hanging over the ditch and things like that. So that's why I spent a lot of time to make sure that all these pieces are fitting in here just right. So you can see here, those fit perfectly there. These pieces now fit perfectly right here. Right, I've got them numbered so I don't mess up the order, because I did that before as well. And then you can see the top, the rough top. To me, this wasn't high enough. So one of the things I'm gonna do here is I've got some more pink foam board over there, 1-inch foam. I'm gonna build this up higher, and I think what I wanna do is bring this up quite a bit. So these are two 2-inch pieces. I think this mountain's gonna come up like that. I think it'll look better overall. It'll make more sense of why they cut tunnels through here. One of the things I do definitely want to do is, and the reason I put this here is that this doesn't make sense to me now. This is gonna be a trucking company. The building's gonna be literally roughly that size. And this doesn't make sense having the mountain kind of steer into the back side of that building. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this across here and kind of have this mountain like it's going off that direction in the business into the distance, as opposed to cutting across behind the building here. Even though there'll be mountains in the distance over here behind the industrial area, I don't want it to look unnatural. So that's kind of like the plan there. I have a nice old stone portal for here, like I do on the other side there. And then this one's going to be a newer concrete type portal for the southern north-south main line. So anyway, so there you go. So that's why I've spent so much time in the carving of this and the rough, and I still may carve this some more, because these vertical faces that you see here are going to be exposed rock, like they had to blast it away. That's the goal, to make that look like, and then we'll have vegetation and whatnot on the upper part of the mountain. Again, I think I'm going to go that high with this mountain, but I'm not sure. I do think that I'm going to have some kind of, once I do get it up at that height, or that relative height, it's not going to be big and flat like you just saw, but it might be, you know, something like that. I don't know. You'll see it eventually. Other than that, no other track work is needed over here. Everything's functioning perfectly, with the exception of this one turnout here in the engine servicing facility. For whatever reason, I'm getting a dead short from these points. I'm not quite sure why. I may just have to put a couple feeders down to fix that. We'll have to see. So other than that, I think I'm getting closer and closer to a golden spike here. So I'm back here in the hidden staging, aka Collier Yard, and I have not done any work. I mean, I have been so tickled having these two crossovers in here now, to be able to, because these are my arrival and departure tracks in my operations, and having those two to be able to break down and make up trains here and have a escape for the inbound locomotive on that track there has been fantastic. What hasn't been fantastic is not having access to this yard easily, because you'd have to come up this ladder and then go back down this ladder, right? That's one issue. The other issue is every time I would make up a breakdown trains, I'd be pulling out onto the main layout, and I think I showed you this before. That makes me foul the main line all the way out there. So what I decided to do is, I now have this double slip switch. I'm going to install it there along with this turnout here, and then the plan is to take this bumper off and build a little shelf around here all the way to the end there, because that'll be just perfectly long enough to match how long a train I could pull, whoops, if it'll focus, out of that siding over there, or that long track. So that'll keep me out of the viewing area for making down and breaking down trains, and an engineer can work back here for quite a while. I have spent probably, when this yard's full and I have to make up or break down a train, it could take me a good hour and a half to break down a train and to make up a new train to go outbound. So especially in this orientation, I think it's going to speed up a good bit once I get this shelf built in that track around there. And I've also got some other ideas for beyond that, which I won't share quite yet, because I haven't formulated those in my mind yet. So in addition to what you visually saw, I've got a couple of other things that I'm working on. One is figuring out what my LCC system is going to be. Obviously, I'm working on trying to finish up the wiring. It's always a daunting process, and you know, not the most glamorous for viewers to watch that. But I do plan on going over the whole system once it's installed, so that you guys can see all the parts and pieces and all that stuff. I think I'm leaning towards, for to drive the signals, I think I'm leaning towards the RR circuits system. So I got a starter set in over there. I'm going to play with it a little bit and see if I like it, and watch a lot of videos, a lot more videos about it, and then go from there. I may be reaching out to Jason about his, because I know he's using that system as well. And then the only other thing, of course, I've got the Halloween train I'm working on in the background here. I've been tuning up cars as I can steal 5 or 10 minutes here and there. I'm getting to a place now where I'm going to start to want to weather some cars up, especially since I'm now starting to do that with the Halloween train. Let's see, I don't think there's much else other than that. I am working on my operation systems in the background in Excel. So that's going to be for another video coming down the pike. Need to get that to a more, I guess, completed state. I have some really cool ideas for the tunnels, both over here in North that I was showing you, and then over here in South Chattanooga as far as the interior decorating. So got some good ideas coming down the pike there. So, well, with that, I won't keep you any longer. Raising a cup of coffee to you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying your trains, and we'll see you on down the tracks. Bye. Hey there, did you like that video? Well, check out some of these others on the screen. Don't worry, I'll wait. Enjoy.